King Kong. Guys, do you like King Kong? Welcome to my full movie watch-along for King Kong 1976. Guys, are you ready for this action? Are you ready for this? We watched Peter Jackson's movie earlier on this week, and we're going to be watching this version now. If you have your own copy, and unfortunately, this isn't on Netflix, this is on a DVD, so you're going to need your own copy to follow along with me on this journey. But I am a big fan of this, so I'll try to show as much as I can here on the side for you guys. But and I'll give you time codes and everything for when we're going through this stuff, so don't worry about that. I'll try to crop this out nicely for you guys, and you'll be able to tell where we're at in this movie. Let me just make sure that everything's set ready here to go. I said play, and that should be that size. Should not change on me, guys. Okay, so there we go. The movie started, and I'll do my best to put in my little tips and tricks here on the side for you guys so that you can watch. And as I said in my earlier stuff, in my earlier review, okay. Now, we're starting. So, it's a little bit of a glitch there. Okay, so I'm going to hit the play button again. Sorry, guys. I'm just trying to make sure that everything's working kosherly. For some reason, whenever I touch this, it's being a little iffy. But there you go, guys. Now, as we said in the 2005 version, either the ship or the place is Surabaya. Okay, so there you go. There's your beginning for Kong. Now, something's happened to me. I was always, I loved the King Kong story, you know that, and the big part for me was always seeing the monster. You want to see the monster. But something happened to me as I got older. I wanted to see, I actually started to get more interested in all this stuff building up to the monster, like what's going on with the ship and stuff like that. So if you're watching us in the live stream, I'll always talk with you guys and let you know where we're at in the film. Okay, so what's going on here is that they're just loading up some drilling equipment.
What's going on?
Yeah. And in this version, they're looking for oil. And they're not making a movie. So they changed around some of the script. And I found that I'm really enjoying the build up to it. I really like the stuff on the boat. So the Carl Denham character is played by Charles Grodin in this movie. And it's not a movie. They're oil drillers. So they took a twist on it. And there's Jeff Bridges, young Jeff Bridges, playing the Jack role. And I like this.
How are you this evening?
He comes up. He's like, he's pretending he's hammered, but it's like a tip to be a stowaway on the boat for this movie. Yeah, that's a little bit better. So there's a whoops. Oh, I can't use the B key? Shoot. Sorry, guys. Why does that shrink? My hotkeys. My hotkeys are getting all messed up. Okay, so I can't use the B key. All right. We're starting out again, guys. I'm messing up here. Okay. Why is it muting? So I'm just going to have to switch in between that and this. I'm going to have to figure out a different key for that. Oi. Yeah, because I'm not streaming it this time. I'm actually using a disc. So I apologize for that. But we'll go through my little spiel here as normal, guys. Instead of them being movie makers, they're oil drillers in this version, and I'll show you the part once it starts going again, and I guess I can't show you this version clean because it'll reset the player. Oh, I know I can. I know what I can do. I know what I can do here. Yeah, I can do that. That's Bones. I like Bones. You'll see him more. Hourglass Vikings in live chat says Charles Grodin. He was in Midnight's Run. Yeah, he was in Midnight's Run. He was in was it Beethoven as well? Anyway, guys, I got my coffee here. It's Friday. Let's get this show underway. And I want to highlight to you my favorite parts of this version. I know that some of the visual effects are not up to par as today, but don't worry. The story part, the acting in this is just as good. Okay, so here's our first look at Charles Grodin. That's the guy putting this campaign to go out to the island.
Every hour we delay gives Shell or Exxon a chance of beating.
So yeah, he's worried about competitors drilling on this island, on Skull Island. And the captain just said there that there's a storm. So he said, let's go around, but he said, nope, we're going to go through. And of course, there's Jack, who was played by Adrian Brody in the 2005 version. But you know what? Jeff Bridges does a great job in this one. Let's see if this works. I'm going to have to do it like this. So he's playing a stowaway here. He's stowing away on the boat. Eventually, you know, they all get onto the boat somehow. They all get to the island. We notice that the girl isn't here on this version. Her name is Dwan in this version, not Anne. Although I think they do say her name is Anne or something like that. Anne Dwan. But they call her Dwan in this. And the boat's pulling off. And the soundtrack in this one is equally as cool.
Fred? Well, here's to the big one.
Yeah. And Charles Grodin, he's good in this too. Charles Grodin is equally as effective as Jack Black was, if not more, because he kind of almost hams it up a bit. Now, I've learned from doing the previous one, I can't let you listen to the soundtrack as much as I wanted. Like, I wanted to showcase snippets of the soundtrack, and maybe we'll try, but that's something that really flags it. I can show you bits and parts of it. So we're on the boat there. And we're just going through the opening credits here. Jessica Lang. Okay, we're settling in here, guys. Don't worry. If you're watching us afterwards with your copy, I'll put time codes in here and in the description below too. There's like I think it's an organ that plays the soundtrack there. And that's very iconic in this version. Especially when we get to Kong. I haven't watched this in a while. I'm looking forward to this, guys. Yeah. So if that gets muted later on, don't worry about that. It's just the opening credits. So, how does the girl get on the boat? Well, we'll find out here in a few moments. Hourglass Viking says, do they know what they're looking for, or is Kong discovered by accident? Yeah, just like in the previous version, in the 2005 version, he's discovered somewhat by accident because they're looking for oil in this. And there's a scene here that's coming around the corner that explains all of that. Yeah, John Barry's music. It's very iconic. And I do appreciate it in this version. So Jack has been stowing away in a lifeboat there, and he's been getting swamped. So he's got to go inside. And I like this scene here in the captain's galley. Okay, so we got a guy here. He's
Mayday.
he's hearing a mayday, but he's having trouble locating it. Right, he hears the mayday, and this scene, I love this scene because look at the table. The table has edges that hold the food on, and the food's just like sliding back and forth.
Amsterdam. You ever eat a raw herring with a beer chaser and a scoop?
A raw hair. And you can tell that Charles Grodin there is having trouble. He's getting seasick. But I like the captain here too. He's like making fun of him. He's got that smirk on his face there.
Captain here.
Now, unfortunately, because this is on this CD, they don't have subtitles. So he's just saying that they can go around this storm. And he's like, keep on course, I'm fine. Because it's a race. It's a race to the island to get the oil.
Sold this one to the board. If that island doesn't produce huge, I'll be wiping windshields.
Yeah. So he's put his own butt on the line here. So you can tell that there's that little bit of sleaze to his character, just like the way that Jack Black did. Unfortunately, this guy is much more sleazy. Okay, so this is the briefing scene where we learn about the island and why they're really out there.
Risk anyone talking until we were on the high seas. Men, we may be sailing into the history books.
So he's just explaining that we're going to head in and we're going to look for oil.
This was taken in 1943. We dug it out of Navy.
So we see that there's a fog bank there.
It's the fog bank you wouldn't look at twice.
Yeah. So that's what I like about this version. They try to explain why there's a fog there, right? And in the other version, 2005 version, we didn't get that. So I like that nuance of that. We're getting a little bit of a different perspective here as to what they're doing out on the water. What they're looking for is different, right? Oil instead of a movie. So
To someone in Washington, D.C. No names, but I think he lives on Pennsylvania Avenue.
So he's just saying that he's just trying to ham up the story there, saying that he bribed the president to get a glance at these photos of this special island. So Jack sneaks into the room here. Now look at the island there. See? Look at the shape of the island. You can see like there's that skull shape. There's that eye piece there, and you can see that it's kind of like that monkey shape. So here they've kind of put it right into your face.
The infrared patterns.
And Jack's taking his notes. Okay, so it does have subtitles.
To that. They're all.
So Jack is just talking about
Where he heard the roar of the
Whoops.
greatest beast. The rest of that log entry, unfortunately, was suppressed by the.
Oh, there we go.
Rome.
Finally. Thank you. I figured that out.
1749.
All right. So if that gets blocked or blurred, I apologize. I want to make sure that you guys can see the subtitles. So Jack is just explaining that there were previous accounts of people getting on the island.
Humanoid thing. And this strange warning.
And there's that warning scene.
Lady, God preserve thee.
Yeah. So that's very much like that scene into the 2005 version where the crew is trying to creep Jack Black and his hand there out, right? Saying, remember, monsters belong in B movies.
I'm from Princeton, Department of Primate Paleontology.
Department of, are you lying?
Okay, so Jack is looking for the ape. He thinks that there might be an ape there. That's an interesting angle. I forgot about that. So they're just going through his things, trying to figure out who he is.
Jack Prescott. Now look,
I like they hand him like a sandwich to eat because he hadn't had anything to eat.
Come on, Jack, don't make me get rough. Who'd you pay off in Washington?
So he's just saying that he bought charts in Serbia, and that's what tipped him off to stow away on the boat. And leave the sandwich here. I like that. So the Charles Grodin characters, he's just all about the oil and the greed. So Jack sees something out there floating, and they don't believe him.
there's something out there. About 2 o'clock. Use your glasses.
Come back here.
So they see a raft, and this is how the girl gets on board, played by Jessica Lang. And I got to tell you this. I think this was her first movie, and wow. Yeah, I like the captains in both these movies. Although we don't get to see too much of the captain in this one. There she is. So what this is saying that there was a... remember that Mayday call that the guy heard? Well, okay. This is a casualty of that, and that's how she gets on this boat for this mission. Saying she's alive. Good. Now this is kind of funny. One of the guys tries to get a little too touchy-feely here with her. And the captain calls him out on it, I think.
I've had first day training, Captain. You all clear out of here?
You'll have to undress her, huh?
As usual.
As usual, you have to take her clothes off. And the captain's like, get out of here, fellas. Sonara. Sounds like a yacht. Yeah, so the captain just said, we had that Mayday call, remember? 1 and 200 guys, what can go wrong? Oh, yeah, Bill Pfeiffer in the Pfeiffer to Hobbit in the live chat says, 1 girl and 200 guys, what could go wrong? I guess that's what they say. Women and seamen don't mix. You heard me, I said it. Okay, so they just got in through the wire that
About to come to. She could be hysterical. So
that Jack has some medical training. And they want Jack to check her out because, yeah.
Day and hour you completed your toilet training.
That's Odo from DS9. That's right. He's going to be in this movie too. Good call. So he's taking him on to be a photographer. Now Jack is going to meet Dwan for the first time using some smelling salts, which I hear is not good. I hear it's like very ammonia. I know a lot of the hockey players here, they use that to like waking them up. I've never smelled it. Have any of you in the live chat used smelling salts? Yeah. Jessica Lang here.
Where's Harry and everyone?
So she's just asking where everybody is. But come on, you got to think that the people that you were on the boat with are now all gone. So she's got to deal with that emotion. And she's just explaining how she got washed off the boat.
Why not let her call it a star?
By some miracle, ma'am. A life raft was blown overboard near you.
And she got on. So Byford says in the live chat, this is my first Jessica Lang movie. Well, this is a perfect one for that. And she's, even still now, she's still beautiful. When they first land on the island too is one of my favorite shots in all of movies.
Offered me.
So
He was gonna put me in a movie.
So she's an actress. She was going to be in a movie. So there is a little bit of connection there with the 2005 version that she's an actress or she's a performer.
Over there.
So Jack and her look at each other. So she says, I'm Dwan.
D-W-A-N, Dwan. That's my name.
All right.
You know?
Yeah. So
Could anybody who would save my life ever be near to me?
So he said his name is merely his mere Jack. I'm a mere Jack. Again, Singapore. See that? And they were talking about going to Singapore in the 2005 version as well. She doesn't seem too sad or broken up. Okay, because she realizes that she wouldn't have been put in that movie anyhow. Okay. She's saying that she owes her life to being.
Did you ever meet anyone before whose life was saved by Deep Throat?
Okay, so the guy on the yacht was going to show an adult movie. She didn't want to watch it, so she went up on deck, got washed off when the storm hit. So she went through a range of emotions there, of first being sad, being confused, and then we've seen scenes like that where the crew are kind of like enamored with her. And it's just soundtrack here, guys, so there's not much. And we can see that Jack is spending time with her. And it's the music here that really helps give you that impression of it being kind of like a romance, right? Like, if you listen to the strings, and they're playing, I don't know what they're doing there, but you can tell that they're spending a lot of time together. And you see how this movie sells and explains that to you without going into these long spiel things. Oh, she's in the shower there. You guys can see that she's in the shower. They don't show anything here, guys. I think. You can see that there, Charles Grodin's kind of like smiling at her. You're like, yeah, yeah. That's a nice shot. Okay. But back to business, guys. We're sailing up on the fog bank. And I like how it just had that change of music where it's kind of like, duh.
I always wondered how Cortez felt when he first saw the Inca treasure.
Actually, it wasn't Cortez. It was Pizarro. When he died, busted, Fred.
So Fred, you can see that Fred there was trying to sound like he knew what he was talking about, but I guess he was corrected. Well, because Jack's from Princeton, he's an educated man. Maybe they're trying to say there that Fred is not as smart as he's made out to be.
You're looking at his profile east to west.
So yeah, that's Odo from DS9 right there talking to him. May he rest in peace. He's not with us anymore. Actually, Charles Grodin isn't with us anymore either. So there's a beep on the radar there.
Birds, maybe.
Spot anything unusual?
Jack comes in.
Jack. Look at the screen, Fred.
So because he's taking the photographer role here, he wants to make sure that he's getting photographs of like Fred looking at the screen. And God, yeah. Seeing this when you're young.
How do you like this for beachwear?
Seeing that. So she wants to go on the first boat. And the guys are like, no, you can't come because they got to scout it out first, make sure that it's safe, right? I like this.
Hey, don't print those. I'm a married man.
Print just one. So she's just using her charms here to say, please let me come ashore, and Fred changes his mind. I wonder how they created that mist. They must have had like a couple boats there just spraying around with a spray machine. Oh, behave, Austin Powers, our Glass Viking says. Yeah. Those shorts are shorts. I'd be the guy sitting up on front there. I don't care. I love being on the water. So they go into the fog bank. See how quickly we got to the island here. We're 25 minutes in. 25 minutes in, and we're at the island. And it took us over an hour. It took us an hour to get there in the 2005 version. So they're just rolling through some fog here.
The fog began exactly at the edge of it. It might lift when we come through.
Going to a hostile island? What can go wrong, Byfer says in live chat. Yeah, exactly. So, Jack just said that he thinks he hears breakers. And I want to try to show you as much as they're landing here, because they chose like the scouting locations for this. Because we're not on CG stages for this. They actually found some really cool locations to shoot. So there's a really beautiful shot of them going down the beach with this archway. I want to show you guys that. That's breathtaking. Like a cliff overhang kind of thing. Now in this version we don't see that there's an island, a wall yet. We can't see the wall yet. Yeah, so I don't. There's that little underhang there that they come through. Like that. Nice, beautiful shot. And that's Jessica Lang for you people.
I'm coming ashore.
Oh yeah, right. So Fred just wants to make sure that he comes ashore and he's photographed like that kind of. That's a beautiful shot with the mist coming up.
Get eaten alive on this island. Bring the mosquito spray.
I like that. Let's not get eaten alive on this island. Bring the mosquito spray. little bit of soundtrack there too, like the difference in tone there of the styles of music. So she sees a waterfall, and he says, "Don't go running off." Obviously, right? From here to eternity, our Glass Viking says, "Yeah, that shot. I like that shot." You can see her running in the foreground there. Nice wide angle establishing shot. Beautiful. And I like how in this version Jack kind of like doesn't reprimand her, but like cautions her, "Hey, don't go running off like that. We don't know what's here." But she's just being playful, having fun, right?
Don't go running off on any more solo.
Yeah. Because you don't know. You don't know what's on that island. There could be animals aside from people. And he's got the suspicion that there is some kind of a beast on the island. That's why they said earlier that he's working for the primate labs at Princeton or whatever. Okay, so this is our first kind of, like I said, it's not CG shots. Back then they did matte paintings. Very Hawaiian landscape, I think. And this is our first look at the wall. Is she high? No, I think she's just trying to be fun. She's excited too, I guess, being on this new island, or in this new place. Fairly ominous landscape. They come up over this rock formation, and we get our first look at the wall. Now that's a matte painting. So the shot from underneath is real, but then the background is painted on.
The difference is the pyramids weren't repaired 6 months ago.
And then Fred tries to correct him, but he's wrong. I like this.
Jack, let me straighten you out on a couple of points. One, this wall is an ancient ruin.
Yeah. Keep on talking, Fred.
The island is
uninhabited. Into the drum beats. Yeah, there's nobody here. Hey, what's that music? So he... Fred's he's the leader. Well, he's the producer of the mission, right? So he wants to try to seem like he knows what he's talking about. So here are the indigenous people of the island. And I like how this version kind of explains a little bit more as to what they're doing with that wall and what the sacrifices mean to Kong. In the Peter Jackson version, that kind of gets glazed over here. And I like how this kind of elaborates on that, right? They can carry a beat at least. So there comes their offering, their version of the offering. Much more ceremonial, dancing kind of stuff. We didn't really get dancing and such in that other version. They were just going to give Kong a tribute. And look at all the extras on set. They would have to feed those people, right? Is that... Okay, so the geologist guy is saying to Fred, hey, look down there. There's something on the ground. What's that? Oil. There's oil on the ground, so it's seeping. It's seepage, I think they call it, right? And I like Charles Grodin here gives a good response.
Sweet Jesus, dear.
Yeah. Sweet Jesus, dear Rockefeller. And he's got like he's using his teeth and stuff like that. Okay, so now look at, they're putting blondish kind of like hair on the tribute there. And so, and what does Dwan have? Blonde hair. So I like how, you know, each version of King Kong, each story, the telling of it, they expand on it a little bit, on the mythology, on the mythos. And you can tell in this version, they actually did build that section of the wall. It's not a CG set. So Jack's saying that the actual groom is on the other side of the wall. And Jack is just explaining that there's a ceremony here. Oh, what's this? They've been spotted. And I like this too from Fred. Oh, Christ! Yeah.
Oh, Christ.
I try to mimic that every now and then. Oh, Christ! So he's hoping that Jack there will use his wisdom. He's falling on Jack's wisdom now to save them. And then they have guns. So there, he's saying, shoot in the air only, because he doesn't want to kill any of them, just scare them off. But I like how he's kind of using his body language to use that that language, like it's puffery. Now he wants, and Jack sees what he's pointing to, and I like how he kind of like tucks her behind, right? Yeah. No. It's like, yeah, of course, you got to protect the girl, right? And I like that. Like there's something primal about that, just like protecting her. And that mirrors what happens later on with Kong. Huh. Because we know what happens at the end of the story, but Kong also pushes her back and tries to protect her. So we get humans protecting her like that, and then later Kong does. Smart.
Come on. Jack, can you tell him that I like him too, but not that way?
So they want to trade. So he just said in the air now because they were walking up on them. And they wanted to make a trade for a girl with real blonde hair. Oh, that's a beautiful shot. But you see how that little scene there kind of just opened up a little bit more as to why that tribe is there and what they were doing with the sacrifices. I felt like with the Peter Jackson kind of just glazed over that. And it was nice to have that little bit more information. And you always have that in the back of the mind as to what's going on. Now, in the 2005 version, they had a kind of like a rocky bank shoreline that they were going over and pole vaulting on, which I think it was Arglass that said it was like Tremors. In this version, they just have a canoe that they come up on. But they're back on the boat. She's having a cigarette. Looking at the radar. But that I definitely do like how each version has its own kind of... Oh, here they come.
Thumbprint on a treaty. What we got on board?
I like this from Jack too. Listen to what Jack says here.
We got all sorts of shiny junk.
This is no longer the 19th century. You can't just walk in and grab their island.
Yeah.
Kong! Kong! You heard him chant that.
It's some nutty religion.
So they're saying that they want to get on the island. They want to set their charges to start mapping the underground areas to find the oil.
Be asshole enough to wipe out a unique new species of animal.
Fred, he doesn't care. And he doesn't care. I like that look. They're looking at each other, and Jack's kind of like, you don't care. You don't care. So, Jack, so yeah, this is a little bit different. Jack wants to go to the island first to try to warn them, I suppose. He wants to photograph the interior. He wants to prove that there's some big monster there.
You grab it or you're dead meat.
Hey, Jack.
She says something about Aries. So she's one of those people that are into astrology. And she's just said that, no, she just asked Fred.
Oh, you think it'd be better to watch some old movie with the crew? Ship.
There's nothing else to do.
Well, use your imagination.
There might be something else to do on the boat. But actually, to tell you the truth, these two do have chemistry, and that's what helps sell this version.
I guess my...
You'll be disappointed.
Well, I was hoping you'd be waiting for me in your cabin.
So he's propositioned there. That's kind of smooth, actually, right? Saying, "Hey, I'll be disappointed if you're not in your cabin, waiting for me in your cabin," right? Or if she's waiting there. And then there they come. She doesn't scream that loud, actually, here. We actually see her being taken. That's right. We didn't actually see her being taken off the boat in the 2005 version. We saw her being dragged through the water afterwards, but... a little bit of a difference there. So, guys, that's 42 minutes in. So the geologist guy is saying that, hey, easy now. We don't know if that oil is going to be usable or not. And Fred has gone in and radioed saying that this is the big mother lode. So Jack comes back down the stairs here, and he just finishes loading up the boat, turns around. What's this? There's a bone necklace. Something's up. All the shells on that headpiece. I think those are shells. And in this version, I think they did drug her with some kind of a weird berry juice. Yeah, exactly. See, look, she's drinking something there. And they didn't do that in the other version, right? So, yeah, Art Glass Viking says, yeah, are they kind of like high in this version, maybe? In this version, they are, I guess. Species Unknown in the live chat says, hey man, how's it going? We're watching King Kong 1976. We're about to get to the sacrifice scene, or the the scene where Kong comes in. And once again, much more dancing. In the other version, it was just more chanting, and they used that slow motion effect. Dwan's demeanor is a bit Sharon Tate in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, swinging 60s peace and love. Well, it was just 1976, so yeah, it definitely had that influence in it for sure. Yeah, her character definitely, yeah, it had that kind of free spirit vibe, right? Oh, never saw it. Cool. Well, we just got through the boat scenes, and we're going to get to the part where the girl gets sacrificed to Kong. And that's precisely 44 minutes and 25 seconds in. So, if you haven't watched one of these for me, Species Unknown there, I'll show you as much as I can here, because it's a live stream. I can't show you everything, and I can't let you hear all the sounds, but if you have your own copy, you'll be able to watch along with me. And for the most part, I do a fairly good job of commentating to let you know what's going on in the story. I'll let you see little parts of it here on the side. And this is what I like about the wall. You see how they're using that big log to lock it? Like, the wall in this one definitely has a lot more. You can feel the presence of the wall. And in the 2005 version, it was just kind of like that CG set. Kong busts through it just like that. And I like the symbology of the wall. Yeah. So they're just dancing around here, guys. There's just typical tribal type music. There's not really much to listen to here. But obviously the wall and the doors here are a set piece. And when Kong busts through it, it's probably one of my favorite shots in cinematic history. And I'll be showing you guys that for sure. See if I can... yeah, I can use that one for a bit. So she's just being led out there to the altar. She's like swaying her head and stuff because you can tell whatever she drank has made her feel woozy. So, because they didn't have CG back then, what did they have to do? They had to put a guy in a suit. How do you film that? You've got, just like they do with the matte paintings, you got part of the set that's real, and then you shoot at the same kind of angle a guy in a suit. You kind of slap the two images together, and that's how they filmed this version of Kong. There are some shots in it where they actually do have a full-size Kong, and they don't look good at all. We'll talk about that as we go through and we see some of this stuff. But I like this version. And we didn't see it at the time, but they pour oil on that log there. See how that log goes through to lock it? They poured oil on it. You can see that it's a little bit black there to lube it up. to go through the hole. I'm sorry, I'm acting like I'm 16 years old here. What am I doing? Okay, so here comes the rescue party. Can't see too much there. It's kind of dark. They're on the boat. They're coming ashore looking for her. But Jack has warned the crew saying, hey, something's going on. They're armed. But I like that. The shots of the top of the wall, too. Them all kind of like cheering. And she's standing there. I forget how it works. I think we actually do see some of the trees moving and such. You just hear that. Same triple notes. Kind of dark to see. I'll try to get a big shot here of him coming out. Oh, okay. So we do see him walking towards there. We see him. I like that shot of behind. Byford's rankings for King Kong are 2005, 1937, and Skull Island. And then this is your least favorite version? Because I'm almost thinking that this is probably my favorite version. I like how they try to give that walking POV shot of him walking up. And the music has kind of reached its crescendo there. And they stop chanting as he's there now. And you can hear him breathing. Yeah. So she's real, but that's a guy in a suit, right? That's an interesting shot, though. I think it's just because I grew up with this version. Like, we would watch this as kids coming home from after school. Now, the hand, I think, it was a real hand. They built something that big. And the fear was the animatronic on it would be sometimes too tight for her. But that looks okay. For the 1970s? Okay, that's a rear projection shot. So it's a mix of like man in suit. Okay, so he walks off with it. And that's obviously a miniature set. Rear projection is sort of like what they used to do before green screen. So my background, instead of like just having like a solid background here, it would be like a theater screen. And they would project their image on that screen and then have something in the foreground. So it's not, it was like pre-green screen effects. And we'll see more of that as we go through. The guy in the suit is Kenny Long, Art Glass Viking says. Okay, nice. Cool to know. So they come. So they're saying, set off the show, scare them off. They put up flares, and that would probably freak them out because they haven't seen anything like that. And now they scatter. I like this version. Let's see. I like the different versions because they show different aspects of the story. Like I like this version for the New York version. When they get to New York, they show a lot more stuff in New York, where the 2005 version really glossed over a lot of stuff. And the 2005 version glossed over a lot with the wall, and this version shows us that. So each one has its pros and cons. Like I like Jack in this version much more than Jack Driscoll, the playwright. As much as I did like Adrian Brody, but I just Jeff Bridges here as Jack. He plays a much more of a rigorous, educated guy. The thing that this version suffers from is the visual effects. It is the technological barrier there. They didn't have the CG to make it look like it was a real ape. I don't know if they would have gone with that route. We talked about that in the 2005 version, where there's the different styles of Kong. Of the upright Kong, like we see in the Skull Island in this version. And then there's that actual gorilla.
A goddamn hole.
That's no hole.
No, you didn't.
I mean, I didn't. Look at me.
You're not in a hole.
Yeah. Can you see? They just go over the outline. He's like, oh, ooh. Yeah. Bifer in the live chat says, in 2005 version of Kong felt very real. It freaked me out. Well, yeah, because they had the technology, right? This version, they didn't really have they didn't have the technology to do all the dinosaurs, all the monsters. So they had just like the snake monster in this one. And that's a huge thumbs down from a lot of people, that they only showed a snake. At least with the 2005 version, we got to see the dinosaurs. We got to see them fight with the T-Rexes, which is much more grandiose in scope.
Round. What are you, a bunch of old ladies? Come on, we're getting our second win. Let's get going.
That's it, Jack. Keep moving.
So, okay. So what do you do when you don't have those resources? When you can't do that? Well, what do? You try to build up the characters a little bit more. Yeah, so you beef up a little bit of the background story. You beef up the acting presence. You beef up some of the establishing cinematography shots, and that's what you can do. And that's what they did do.
That's 6 feet 4 inches. If that were for real, how high would that make? So now the captain's saying that, hey, that ape is that ape. And then that's the first inkling there of Fred saying, well, if the oil doesn't work out, there's that ape. Just like the director did in 2005 version. Hourglass Viking says in the live chat, sorry, James, Rick Baker.
Apes are highly territorial.
So the guy's asking him all these questions.
Joe and the guys said that you said the
Yeah, Carnahan.
God, I'm as ignorant as you are about this.
Like, yeah, is he going to marry her? But at least they're talking about why would the ape want her, right? So that's where the 2005 version really didn't go into that. And here's he's sleeping on the ground. So this is much like where we paused halfway through in our 2005 version. Arglass just wants to clear up something. Rick Baker was the ape in the suit, and he was uncredited. Kenny Long was the tribal leader in the ape mask. Okay, nice clarification. So there's Dwan waking up, seeing him. Now, the thing here that I wish they did a better job of with the sets is that I wish they used real skies. Because when you see the background behind him, you can tell that it's just, you're on a soundstage somewhere. But when you see some of the stuff in the 2005 version, hey, you're just on a green screen stage somewhere. But that hand, that's the real hand. They got the real hand there. Like, look at the background there. That's not a real sky. No sky looks like that. So, this is that scene where they're just establishing what's going to be the relationship between this Kong and her. And he's just blocking her from leaving right now.
And there's, I guess I do kind of like the version of Naomi Watts dancing for him and them establishing the boundaries that way. And there's that iconic, his roar. I feel like it's iconic. And a little bit of green or projection there, I think. Well, it's 1976. Yeah, Star Wars was using green or blue screen stuff back then. This was an ambitious project for 1976, so they were trying to do this in 1975. And I'll grant you guys 100% that, yeah, the visual effects are not the greatest, but they're trying here. So this is that big animatronic hand pushing her around, which in 2005 he did as well, right? Remember, he started pushing her around and he started laughing. Yeah. And the sound mix, like that was loud, but the today's mixing would have made that a little bit deeper, I think. There, that's rear projection right there. So she's just sitting in front of a huge theater screen, pretty much. And she mentioned the Empire State Building there. They changed around that ending too. So he's just looking at her. So she's crying and stuff. But I like how she also changes. She's scared at first, but then she gets angry. And I like that. Whoops. And Jessica Lang does a good job there of selling that. That's an interesting shot. And now we get a close-up of the face, and then she realizes that she might get eaten. So if you're going to get eaten, might as well go down angry. Yeah, he's like, ah.
Will you goddamn chauvinist? You want to eat me? Then go ahead! Do it!
Me.
Choke on me!
Yeah. Yeah. Choke on me. That's what I would say. I'd be like, I hope you choke on me.
Sometimes I get too physical. It's a sign of insecurity, you know, like when you knock down trees. No, we're gonna be great friends.
King Kong, fix your teeth, brah. So she's just sweet talking him here, and eventually she's going to be set down. Like the real intentions, I do believe reading somewhere that they were going to try to use an actual full-scale model all the time for Kong. It just mechanically they couldn't make it work and feasible. I mean, that thing would have been huge. It would have been a labor to move around. So she bails. Of course, yeah, Kong is not going to like that. And he's just establishing his dominance again over her. And he grabs her. Yeah. Arglass says in the live chat, I can see where Hermione Granger drew her influences from being held by Hagrid's brother Gop. Again, so hey, you don't have the production for visual effects, but they got cinematography effects. You can go on locations and shoot somewhere. Give us. Oh, this is a weird flare. He rips off the bottom and then pulls on it. That's must be an old school way of doing it. I guess they didn't have. Well, no, we saw flare guns though before. Maybe that's a higher one that goes higher. Okay, so this is one of my favorite scenes with Odo, the guy who plays Odo from DS9. I like how the guys they brought a masseuse along on the boat.
I feel the same. There's a national energy.
Thinking about is your stock options and your cutoff.
Signed off.
Okay.
There's
Take
Bones.
your time.
He's saying, I'm not busting my butt for this. And then he says, okay, the ape's coming in our direction. So he speeds up. That's Bones for you. This is an interesting scene. Now, a lot of people construe this as to him trying to, well, I guess maybe it is sort of sensualized a little too much. So he sees that she's muddy and such, and he goes to wash her off. But it's got that, well, it's got that romantic music to it again. So I've guys, if this goes up and gets claimed later on, I will apologize right now that it's muted because of the soundtrack. And it's his eyes. Maybe it's his eyes. His, like the first time you see a pair, right? It's kind of like that kind of look. I don't know why they gave him that look. So she's underwater there. That's projection as well, because that's a real waterfall behind him. And he... Whoops. He's trying to blow dry her. Yeah. And maybe it's her reactions to it. That's why people think that it's a little too sensuous. Like she's... okay, I get it. I think it was supposed to be that they can trust each other, that he's not going to kill her because he admires her. Okay, so this is my favorite scene with Roy.
I finished testing the samples.
It will be real great oil as soon as Mother Nature finishes cooking it a little longer.
So you got like a small Mickey of whiskey there.
1,000 years.
Till then, you'd get better mileage filling up your Cadillac with mule piss.
Who carries around a Mickey like that? My liver wouldn't be... I wouldn't be able to sustain myself.
You were bringing in the big one.
So he's feeling upset now because he said, New York, we got a big one. Jesus. And now Fred's realizing, okay, he was just told the oil is no good, but he said he's going to bring in the big one, which is going to be Kong. Now, we come to one of my favorite scenes, the log scene. Remember in the 2005 version, they just kind of glanced over this, the log. The log scene was just kind of like there. It falls down into the into the cavern or into the trench. And this version, you actually get to see them trying to hold on. And I like that this log doesn't have a whole lot to hang on to. So that when Kong starts rolling it, you get that feeling of dread. If you only get one or two steps, and if you mess up, you're done. So Jack goes across first. And that happens in all versions, right? Jack gets over to the other side. Is the only safe one. So he says, okay, it's solid. Come on over. Well, look how thick it is. What were you worried about? So all of a sudden, Kong's there. He's screaming. They open fire. Because Dwan is there somewhere. Jack goes and climbs down below the log. And you can hear the thumping. So that was good sound mix. And now we actually get to see what of them trying to hang on. Now them falling looks terrible. I'll grant you that. But you can see that one guy's just trying to like... he's actually doing not that bad. Carnahan, there's Carnahan. He's going to try to go make a move, go for it, but that's what sucks. And when I was younger, that used to scare me. That scared me because we would play games like that in the playground of like the rolling log trying to hang on, and Bones jumps off the other side. That was Bones. We would play games like that where there would be like a log and you try to hang on. And then, of course, Jack here is hiding just below the log. And he tries to reach for him here. There's Bones on the other side climbing up. And the one limitation about Kong being in that suit is that if Kong really wanted to get one of those guys, he could just jump across the chasm there and get Bones. Hard to shoot, though, I suppose. Of course, Kong gets upset, can't grab him. Throws the log down. And so we hear that. The falling of the rope bridge in Temple of Doom. Hold on. So Jack just says to Bones, tell him I'm going on. And I like that. I'll explain why in a little bit. Our Glass of Vikings in the live chat says, the falling of the rope bridge in Temple of Doom wasn't the best of effects, and it was a good few years afterward, this film. Yeah, but you didn't have a big ape cutting the bridge. It was just a bridge. falling down into a cavern that was not the cavern that was. It wasn't the same chasm as the wide shots. It was a green screen. Okay, so Fred has had some supplies dropped off, which are the containers of chloroform that they're going to use to get Kong in this version. A small bulldozer too. They dropped that too.
You think I'm crazy?
You said it, Fred, not me.
If we...
Think that's gonna ring the bell? Promise oil, bring back a monkey?
Look at that Exxon campaign.
So he's trying to get to Carnahan, and they just all got wiped out on that log. I'm gonna have to try to revisit that earlier version of the log. This is a nice shot too. The people who dug out these footholes in the soft dirt there, that's an impressive shot. I like that. Oh, I see what you mean. The dimensions and perspective were different with each canyon. Yes, not only in, well, here, this Kong. So they're digging a big pit there, but in that version of Temple of Doom, the wide establishing shot, the walls on the cliff sides were way different. Once they fell down against it, you can tell there was a stage. Okay. So, see, they're up on the wall. The wall has much more significance in this one. And what I like about this version, too, is that it showed that there was a lot of distance between where they were out looking for her and by the time they come back. Because you would get whipped. You would get tired just walking there. And when Fred turns around here and sees Bone, I was calling him Bones earlier, sorry. He's out of gas. He's whipped. Which is what you would be. Okay, so this shows us the background of two kind of towers where Kong has taken her. And those towers play on later on in the movie that we know. But I like the fact that they're establishing that here, which they kind of didn't in the 2005 version. He just went up the mountainside where the bats were sleeping. I wish they... Well, I guess, no, I don't wish. I just like that difference, is what I'm going to say. Yeah, those eyes don't help. Those amorous eyes. Jack's come onto the set here too. So guys, that's an hour and 14 minutes in, and Jack sees that skyline too. But I like how they use that to try to explain why would Kong even bother climbing up something at the end. Because an ape wouldn't do that. Right? Okay, yeah, this part. Okay, so he does. Yeah. Yeah. Now this scene, he's like, I can't show you too much of it here. He's like toiling with her in the hand, and I think part of her top does come undone. So, for the safety of the channel, I can't show you that. So Kong is a little bit of a creeper in this one. And she's just worried that first that she'll get thrown or get squished or something, right? And here he is kind of like toiling with her in his hand. Which an ape wouldn't do. And the 2005 version doesn't. Yeah. Well, you get. Guys, that was 40. 45, 50 years ago. Oh, and here's our our snake, our really laughable snake, even for times back then. And I'll grant you this 100% that this does not look good. But they had to figure out somehow for Jack to get in there. And she's running towards him in this version. They meet up. And that snake scene doesn't last all that long. But it's a constrictor of some kind. Let you hear some of the sounds there. And then Kong sees her with Jack. Dwan really is out of the frying pan into the fire between the yacht and the ape. Yeah. And then Kong rips the snake. Of course, he goes looking for them. And they run to the cliff where they jump off into the water. I told you, in each version, there's similar things that happen. Them jumping into the water to escape him is something that happens in every version. Of course, Jack and... Oh, yeah.
Are you ready?
Leads her. Well, at least some people really jumped into the water there. And Kong can't follow, so... Yeah. And they use that, we figured out from the 2005 version, they use that as a device to put some separation between Kong and them, because Kong would easily just gain up on them. Our Glass Vikings in live chat says, oh, so the snake was replaced by the T-Rex. Yeah. And I know that the major criticisms of this one was that he doesn't fight any of the dinosaurs. Where are the dinosaurs? Where are the big things? Yeah, but each one has its different pros and cons.
Logan, how you
Logan.
doing?
So he's just he's just setting the charges to blow the chloroform to blow over.
Okay. It's hot now.
You sure that monkey will be able to bust through that gate?
That look on Bones' face there, he's kind of like, huh. Yeah. It's the shot of when Kong breaks through the wall and he's like screaming and yelling, I think is iconic of this movie and monster movies overall. In the 2005 version, he just kind of swings through and busts through and then that's it. Again with the wall. So the guy underneath just lifting off the lids of the chloroform. Man, Jack carried her too? Wow. That's some impressive strength. Hey, we just closed this gate. Now you want us to open it again? Come on. But I think actually building the wall and building these doors helped sell and actually made up for some of the scenes that they couldn't make with, like, the T-Rex. So they come through the wall. Jack's still got energy to try to close the door too. There's Fred up there. Kong comes through. Rah! There's a shot of him walking towards the wall here too. I want to see if I can get... Yeah, that. I like that because you can see Fred there up on the wall. I like that shot. Of course, Fred tries to get down on the ladder on the other side, and you see the hand come over. All right, in this scene, you're going to be on a ladder, and we're going to dump some debris on you. Yeah, I like the sound design here of him hammering. Yeah. And I think what I like about it is that he's having trouble getting through it, but he's going to stop at nothing. And and that wall kind of helps sell that. Sorry. Dump the chloroform. So they blow the charges. Chloroform in that pit. Okay, so here we are. He's going to burst through. I'll show you guys that shot. Yeah, that. Because you actually saw them. My frame here is covering it, but you saw them running away there. And he falls down into the trap. I'm sorry, guys, I missed that part, but you know, he was going to fall in it. You knew that. And take a big whiff of that. And they actually showed the tribe there coming out too. They want to see what's going on. And I like that. You didn't see that in the other version. That they're sad that Kong is going to be gone now. Each version has its pros and cons. I like how he busts through the wall there, but I do like how it was the director of the film in 2005. It was Jack Black's character that did the final blow of him throwing the chloroform and hitting him on the face. Like, that shot was beautifully photographed as well. And the tribe is bowing, praying. And now in the 2005 version, we'd just be like that. We're in New York. He's going to be on stage in less than like 5 minutes. But this version gives us a little bit more. We get to see them on the boat ride to New York, which I found a very interesting choice. And that's an hour and 26 minutes in, guys. An hour and 26 minutes. Okay, so he's in a container where they hold all the oil, and they're playing backgammon. Is this really the time or place to... So we see that Fred has engineered this roadshow of putting on Kong.
Any chance of you two kids getting married?
So, Fred is trying to sell all this thing. Let's sell Kong. Let's sell Kong. And Jack's kind of like having none of it. And I like how they're going into the kind of ethical questions of, well, we got Kong. What do we do? And should we really be using him as this kind of showpiece?
You know, after all...
Bifer the Hobbit says in the live chat, if I got taken hostage by a 100-foot tall ape, I would sue the boat owners. Yeah.
Because of someone that was stolen off that gorgeous island.
So she sees it as well.
It's an animal, a beast.
It's not someone, it's an animal.
He risked his life to save me.
Actually, they'll miss him a lot.
Like leprosy.
So, yeah. I like how they kind of address that. And they kind of expect you in the 2005 version to, like, know that.
Grotesque farce.
You say the word, Jack. Your contract is torn up. You just tell.
So Jack is saying that it's a grotesque farce, but you know what? There's lots of money in it. And he's kind of like, well, yeah, you got to do it for the money kind of thing, because it opens the door for notoriety, which gives you money. Wow, look at that. That's like 12, 15 seconds of them just looking at each other with no dialogue. Can't do that nowadays. You need speed cuts to keep people interested. Oh, and the her scarf fell off, goes down into the tank that they're holding the ape in. Warning, Bifer says in the live chat, old folks kissing. Well, they're old now. And Kong gets the scarf and smells it. Now they're going into the room. I'm not going to explain what they're doing. Oh, but you hear Kong.
Wait a minute, I'll be right back.
Why would you let her go alone, though? Because he can't walk right now? Hey, we've all been in that boat before. And Kong tries to climb up a pipe of some kind. He twists it. And he freaks out. And I like, he hits the wall here. Some guy sleeping gets bumped off his bunk. So Kong is freaking out. He's trying to look for some kind of weakness in his container. It's an hour and 33 minutes in, guys. We've just got about half an hour left. So they're saying they're going to drown the tank. Wouldn't it take a long time for the water to fill that up, though?
Remember me, you blind date?
See, now his eyes work here. Because you saw that there was rage and anger. And then you just see that he sees her and recognizes her. And the suit worked there because you can see that there was some calmness that came over him.
Stop or I'll jump.
But I like how Jack was saying, okay, I won't come closer. This is the only time in history that King Kong actually wore a crown. Did he? Yeah, he does wear a crown here. And that's when they actually did build that huge Kong model that they wanted to use. So Kong jumped and bumped long enough that she fell in.
She fell in!
But I like this scene because it establishes that while Kong has fury in him, it's also she calms him. She puts him at ease. And he's kind of like, okay, I'll be good, kind of thing. And I think those were real legs, real parts of the body that they used. Of course, he could still squish her. And if he were to pass gas there, it would not be good for her. Sorry, I've been watching a lot of those weird TikTok videos of pranks. Okay, that's an interesting shot. That's a good shot. I like that. And she's got to climb up a ladder, a long climb. I like that shot too. But she stops to always look at him. She's turning around and looking at him, making sure that he's okay. That, he's not going to freak out as he's climbing away from her. Yeah. You could have died doing that. It's weird what she's doing here. She's just kind of like internalizing it. But they gave her time as an actress to kind of like sort through that and show us that. Interesting choice by the director. Now we're fully in New York. Lots of pomp now. And that's just an hour and 38 minutes in. Old New York skyline. You know, I'm realizing in this version, a lot of music.
What's the matter? You're not dressed.
I'm quitting your circus, Fred.
So Jack and Fred are at odds now. And I like in this version that Fred gets his comeuppance. In the 2005 version, Jack Black's character survives the entire thing. So her dreams is to become famous, and this is her chance.
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
But at least Jack understands. So they're doing an announcement of the show beginning to start in many different languages. Kong. And I'll fully concede that this looks ridiculous. So just like other versions, they've recreated the set where she was offered before. She's got an open back dress on. That's got to be kind of drafty.
The Forbidden Island, and we're seized.
And of course, just like in the 2005 version where Jack Black was giving that spiel, now Charles Grodin says it. Now, him coming out in a huge gas station tank. I guess they're just trying to reaffirm to us that, hey guys, it's all about the oil. It's all about the money. The Benjamins. And we hear that organ music again. Hail to the power! But I kind of like the attempt of it, at least. Because this is the actual full-scale thing they built for Kong. And you're right, Bifer, he's wearing a crown. Which is really kind of grotesque. Yeah. And they wanted to use that throughout the entire movie. That would have just been too hard to do. Yeah. So the photographers are pushing around to get that one shot. And just like in all the other versions, he breaks 3 of the bindings. Proof cage. So Fred's saying that that's a certified cage, guys. Don't worry about it. And well, Kong makes short work of it. Yeah, there's a shot here of him letting these down. That doesn't look good. They used it for like 1.5 seconds.
Easy.
His haters still chained.
Yeah, but if he just broke through all of that, I mean, come on. At least, for her, whatever happens, he's not going to hurt her, at least, right? Everybody else has to get the hell out of there. And I like how this old lady screams. That's why you never go to the first show, guys, especially on something like this. Going to a theater to watch a movie is there's no danger in that. Opening of a zoo. Hey, there's a new one. Oh, we get to see some people crushed. Yep. So he steps on people. Did we see that in the 2005 version? Him stepping on people? And we don't get to see him chew on anybody like in the 1930s version. That was my favorite part of the 30s version, where he puts people in his mouth. And now Fred's going to get his. Hey, you know what? As far as going out, getting squished like that, bugs get squished all the time. That's got to be a quick death. Our glass in the live chat says that's a lot of extra stampeding. Good point. Because they had to fill out that stadium for real. It wasn't CG people. And he wrecks shop. What are we sitting at there? An hour and 46 minutes. So we still got about 20 minutes of New York stuff. So Jack and her are going towards the train. And the train sequence here is done a lot better than the trolley scene in the 2005 version. I like how he's walking along beside it and you get to see the scope of it. I'll try to show you guys that shot. So you heard him. He was trying to smell there. And he breaks into the tracks. Rawr. Yeah. But again, they built the huge model of this to shoot it. He's just throwing the... I like how he is actually picking them up above his head, throwing them. And he starts to peel off the roof of one of them. And I'll show you the girl getting thrown. Don't worry about that. So he sees another girl in a dress. picks her up. It's not her. Actually, that's not as brutal as I remember it. That's a cool shot. Yeah, that. The fire blowing up, going up behind him there. Byford the Hobbit says, Ready Player One King Kong train scene. Okay, and yeah, I need to check that one out. So now they're on a motorcycle heading towards... okay, but why did they stop on that side? Why did you run out of gas? Or maybe you just didn't want to be as threatening? Oh, vehicular roadways are mined. That's why they stopped.
Any person found looting may be shot without warning.
So Kong can see that the helicopters are at least following her and Jack. So he's using the helicopters to figure out where they've gone. And he's going to go into the water. He's going to go for a swim.
Buy me a drink, will you?
Ten more blocks. She said that apes don't swim, but guess what? He does. And this ties into the 30s version where they do take a break or something, and they're in a bar of some kind where Kong comes along and grabs her, which doesn't happen in the 2005 version. She's just standing out in the middle of the street. There's the towers. Yeah, Jack sees the two towers because we use the World Trade Centers in this version. And this bar that they go into is cleared house because they were told to go home, right? There's Kong swimmy. A little swimming action from Kong. And he sees... He saw the two towers, which reminds him of his home. So that's where he's going to go. Get smashed.
Do you still want me?
You're gonna need new fixes that I'm not gonna be able to give you.
And I like how they're stopping to talk about the dynamics of their relationship. She wants to be a star and he's a professor. He's an environmentalist. So, Kong finishes getting out of the water. He's on the island side now, right? Him and electricity don't mix in this one. And if you ever watched the old King Kong versus Godzilla, like the really old version, electricity gave him power.
Only 9 months later.
Uh-huh.
I'll drink to that. So she's still interested in him. And now he realizes that he's seen that view before. And I like the transition there. They use that transition of the rocks. So they gave us a little bit more information in the fact that the towers remind him of his home, and that's why he climbs to get away from danger there. This is
what do
the
you
mayor.
think? Is he flipped out or isn't he?
Yes.
You say you know where Kong is headed?
Yes.
To capture him without injury, then I'll tell you where.
So Jack is worried about Kong there. He wants to make sure that he's captured and not killed. And this is very 1930s version where she's all alone. Kong comes along. He can smell her because we saw him smelling.
There's one place in Manhattan that looks exactly like a certain part of his native habitat.
Where he sees her inside, he reaches in and grabs her. And I think, yeah, they used the actual hand. That's creepy. Big hand. He's just looking at, yeah, that looks a little bit silly. So now they're going towards the towers. And you know, it's been over 20 years and still, like, I'm not American, but it's still because it was an attack on the free world. It still resonates with you seeing the old New York skyline. And part of that is, reason why I feel like that is maybe because of this movie, because Kong did climb them. But they're photographed well in this movie. There's some guy hauling ass across the center. So they're showing that the cops and the military have all set up shop outside. And all you hear are the footsteps of him coming up. No soundtrack. And he looks over. Hey, if he can smell her, he can smell, and he probably can hear them in the dark there. I think he roars. Yeah, he roars, but not too loud. There used to be a book, and there he is climbing the side. There used to be a book in my library at school, in grade school, and the cover of the book was a shot of him actually climbing the towers there, from a top view actually. And do we see a top view in this? If we do, I'll try to show you guys. So Jack goes into the elevators. He's climbing now. He's going up more than 100 floors, right? It was sort of like a shot like that. So now the military and the cops are closing in on the square to make sure that... actually, that's a fairly good shot. That he's not going to be able to get away. You just heard Jack there say, "Come on," because he's in the elevator. And that's something that we noticed in the 2005 version, that you're going up 100, 120 stories in an elevator. It's still going to take you 5 minutes or so to... Oh, cool. That's a cool shot. You can see him climbing through the windows there. But I like how Jack is at least up there in the tower trying to get to her. Because he... yeah. And he reaches the top. And it's going to come the scene... And he's looking up at the moon. And I think that's why, like, if they had done a little bit more that she was also happy to see the moon and stuff too. Like, I like how the 2005 version, they had that that sharing of the sunset and then the sunrise. I like how they shared that, and they were like beautiful. They both acknowledged that nature, the beauty of nature at times. And Jack's still trying to find a way up to get onto the roof. Hey, you know what he should do? He should try to find that axe. Find an axe and get through. Kind of like Shining style. Apparently there was an axe you could buy for $175,000 if you wanted. Okay, so there's some men going up with flamethrowers. Okay. Cool, man. Well, not cool. That's toasty. And Kong doesn't like that. He's running. He jumps from one building to the another. And now they're showing that there's some actual people down there cheering on and such. But Jack is seeing this now. He's stuck on the top of that one tower. I like how there's like a mist coming down from that flame. And of course, he picks up the gas. Boom. Yeah. But Jack is like cheering. So it would take more than 10 minutes for him to go down this building and then go back up the other building, right? So it's not worth it. And then you just hear the sound of the helicopters coming in with the gunships. And you see that they got miniguns on them. But Kong knows that something bad is about to happen. So and she knows this too. So she knows that Yeah. Yeah. So he bashes one. And yeah, he gets messed up in this one. But he sees her and pushes her away. Yeah, he gets messed up in this one. A lot more bloodier than the 2005 version. Because those guns are obviously a lot more deadlier than the... So he hit one of them. And he's just standing there. I think you hear him falling. He hit the roof first. And he's just lying on the edge. But I do like how the 2005 version was like the marriage between this one and the older version. Yeah, maybe 2005 version is my ranking a little bit higher. And then he falls off. And they actually let us hear him hit the ground there. People are already on top of him. And you hear just the heartbeat. Yeah, okay. So now that we've watched both of them, I think I agree with Bifer that the 2005 version is definitely the best version. But I do like the attributes that this version does offer. So she's down now looking at him. They both come down. Rampage got a better deal, says Art Glass in the live chat. And you just hear the thumping of the heart. And she's... crying. You don't have to tell us that the heartbeat stops. We can hear it. I guess that's for the captions. But this one ends a lot more sad, right? Like they really... they go into the emotion, like her emotion from it is to end with her crying and screaming. It's a lot different than the director coming up and saying it wasn't the height that killed it was beauty that killed the beast, right? So she doesn't want to take the photo op with the mayor, and she just wants to get to Jack. Of course, he can't get to her. And it ends with her crying. And then we get the theme, which I can't play too much. And that's it, with special contributions from Rick Baker. Okay. So that is Kong 1976, guys. Thank you for joining me with that. And as always, if anything gets muted or blanked, I apologize for that. I'm going to mute it. I'm not going to edit it out, so that if you're watching with your own copy, you'll be able to still follow along with me and you won't have to adjust it for you guys. As far as my rankings go, yeah, okay, I will agree that the 2005 version is probably the best version of Kong. Then I would say this one. Then I still like the 1930 version. I'll have to watch that one again. And then Skull Island, yeah. But if you mix in like Godzilla versus Kong, that newer one was still probably my favorite. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Did you enjoy that? I hope you did. We do a lot of these full movie watch-alongs here on the channel, Mirror Domains. Tomorrow we're going to be doing the horror movie roundup. We'll talk about all of the big horror movie news headlines that dropped. And guess what? We might even do a full watch-along too for The Hunt that just dropped on Netflix for a horror movie on Saturdays. Thank you very much for joining me, guys. And if it gets claimed, hey, you saw us on the live stream, you got to see everything that I was able to show you here. And that's the benefit of doing and joining me in the live streams, because then you don't have to worry about it getting muted later on. Okay, thank you very much. I will see you guys tomorrow for the Saturday Horror Movie News Show. And see you next time.